Hi friends, how are you guys doing today? My name's Teresa Louise and I quilt too. Welcome to my sewing room. Okay, so let's get going on our next steps in free motion quilting. Have you guys had time to practice what we did last time? I hope so. And I had some other thoughts on what we could do to get you the feel of the free motion. Okay, so I'm going to start with that. So I will put my gloves on, and today I'm going to try these. These go any direction. Now they are pretty snug, even though I have little hands, and I'm pretty sure they're one size fits all. My fingers aren't very long. See how much room I have. And I haven't cut those off yet, which I will do. But full disclosure here, you guys, I have not done free motion on my domestic sewing machine since I've gotten my Longarm. So why would you? Except for little projects, you don't want to take the trouble of putting that on your Longarm. But I guess I haven't done any really long little projects. Table runners, I go ahead and put it on my Longarm because they're long enough, but like pot holders or that swap I was in, I just did straight line stitching on that. So, okay. What I'm going to bring the camera down here so you can see what I'm doing. So here's my thought. I want you to be able to get the feel of the fabric moving along as it pulls you through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my feed dogs back up, and then I'm going to adjust my stitch length to where I would want it to be if I was doing free motion. And then I'm going to let the machine feed the fabric through, but I'm going to keep my hands down on my quilt sandwich, and I'm just going to let it drag me along so I can feel what it feels like to make that stitch. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's just try it. Okay, I'm just gonna, let's see, where do I want to do this at? It doesn't really matter. It's just going to be a straight stitch, and I'm just going to go like you would normally when you're piecing something. Okay, so for when you're piecing something, you're not holding both sides. This you'll be holding both sides. Let's give it a try and see what happens. So I'm going to bring you down. One of those days. All right, here we go. Bring in a little more. There. Okay, so I'm going to bring my feed dogs back up, and I'm going to put this on like 3.5, and I'm not going to bring my thread up. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to get started. But I did check to make sure that my thread was threaded properly, and I'm all set to go. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this feels like. Put both of your hands on both sides. I have that line right there, and here I go. Uh-oh, you know what I forgot? Now remember, this is real life. I forgot to drop that down, so it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, let's try this again. All right, that's what it feels like. And I'm just barely, you can't like put your weight down on there. You just barely got to have your hands on there, okay? Okay, what happened right there was I was leaning on that. So you can't do that either, because then it don't go anywhere. So let's keep going. Take those pins out before I get stuck. All right. Looks pretty good. Now, you could go in reverse. If your machine stays in reverse, you're luckier than me. Mine doesn't. So what I'm going to do, because I want you guys to start getting used to going in all directions too, not just straight. So I'm going to move over. I know I didn't bring my feed dogs back down, but that's okay. I didn't have very far to go. And I kind of went a little too far, so I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to take my feed dogs down. All right, now back up. And I want to go in reverse. I'm going to try this. I don't know how it's going to work, but... All right, for me, that's not going to work so great. But I am getting good stitches. And that would only give your left hand practice. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it around. But if you have that ability to keep it on reverse, do it. All right, let's feel it one more time. Very little pressure. Stop. I probably should have stopped before that, but here we go again. Okay. So you understand what I'm trying to do there? Is I want you to get that feeling of the stitches and how that fabric's being moved through there. All right. So now we were on, or I was on, the C's, and I'm going to drop my feed dogs back down. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring, I hope you guys can see that. I wish I could get in closer. I'm going to just bring this out here like I'm following a seam, and I'm going to bring it down here, and I'm going to travel along till I get back to the C that I was on before. If that's any better. Okay, here we go. Now this time my feed dogs are down, so I need to be pushing the fabric. I'm pulling and pushing, pulling and pushing. I'm trying to make that an even with both hands, not pulling too much with this one or not pushing enough with this one. Kind of even motion. Whoops, I forgot to go down there. That's all right, we're just practicing. So I'm just going to go down. Okay, now we'll start our C. And I've been thinking of some great ideas of what we can use these practice sandwiches for. So I got a video coming out on that. Okay, let's make a C. Which is a half circle. The other thing that might help you is to have music playing. I used to do that too. All right, here we go. I'm going to stop there for just a second. The other thing I want you to do is try to look ahead to where you want to go. So I'm looking more up here to this line, up to this line. When I'm down here, I'm looking actually up here. And then I'm always looking ahead of my foot or ahead of my needle. I'm not looking right at my needle. Sometimes I kind of glance back and I'll look at my stitches to make sure my stitches are still doing good. And of course, you always want to look on the back when you first get started and make sure you don't have any problems down there. That looks good. Looks good enough. Okay, so try to look ahead. So I want to try and get up to that line or just a little bit below it because that's my seam. And then when I come back down, I want to be either touching that seam or just a little bit above it. So here we go again. Okay, so in the last video, I just had you going one direction. This time, let's go back this way without turning our project. And what are we going to do on this one? I forgot my paper. You want to do a backwards C. Let's try that. That should be interesting. I'm going to stop right there and readjust my hands. Stop. It's better to stop at a point or in a seam than to stop at the top of a circle. Better to stop at a point where you're going to change direction. Pardon me. Okay, and there's the C going the other direction. All right, let's try doing some circles. Let's see, which way do I want to go? I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to drive myself down that way. And I'm just going to come out to about there, or try to. And I'm going to do circles. I'm going to go all the way around once, and then again until I hit that line. Then I'm going to come out, and then I'm going to go around again, come down. No, what am I going to do? Sometimes it helps if you draw it out. All right, so I want to do circles. All right, and I'm going to follow that back up, and then I'm going to go this way on the circle. And see, you got to travel around that. So grab your pen, draw some circles. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to try to do. Sorry, I got a dry cough today. Not doing very good on my circles, but that's all right. You gotta practice them. Glad I'm doing this because it's been so long since I've done this on a domestic machine. Okay, so there's some circles. Now you can keep going all the way down if you want to. Keep practicing those circles, and let's see, what do I want to do next? Let me go look, grab that paper. Okay, so it looks like the next thing on the list is just some wavy lines. All right. Let's try that. So I'm just going to go like that. I'm going to go back up. I'm just going to follow along my circles there. Kind of like, yeah, let's do that. Let's shadow those circles. Okay, so there you go. Isn't that pretty? So you could do circles, and then you could come back and do that wavy line around your circles. Then you could do that again. Or you can come back over here and do some more circles. All kinds of things you could do with that. All right, now the next thing on the list was a regular E and then an upside down E. All right, if we want to, we could take our, I'm going to break this. and I'm going to draw it out. Okay, so I'm gonna do an E, and then I'm gonna, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna do an E, no, I'm gonna do an E, and then I'm gonna do an upside down E, and an E, oops, an upside down E, regular E, okay. That's what I think I'm going to do. All right, let's get started. So you could practice that on a piece of paper or go over it on your paper. Like what I should have done was bring my paper over here like this and then just trace over it to get the feel, get that motion. Okay. Now I would make a bigger sheet than this. These are pretty tiny, so you could really get the feel of that. Bring that back down, and I'm just going to start. I'm not going to bring my bobbin thread up. I'm just going to go. I'm not even following my lines that I drew. That's okay, I just drew them out there to give me the feel. My E's are getting smaller as I go. So I'd have to practice with that. But that's a cute little dainty design. Okay, let's just finish that out. Okay, in the next video, I'll have some more designs for you, I hope. We can work on some other ones, and we can go back and review this one. Be sure and ask me any questions that you have down in the comments. I'm also going to try and do these as a premiere, which if I'm successful, the video I posted before this one will have been a premiere. A premiere is kind of like a live, except for it's a pre-recorded video like this. Except for we can have a chat, like a live chat. And so you guys can ask me questions and I can hopefully, chat with you in the chat. Since I'm not able to do a real live because of my internet, I thought we'd try that, see how that goes. So be looking forward to that. And all right, get to practicing, you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, practice quilting or go make something. Thanks for stopping by.